Facts consumers should know before using a credit repair company. Brought to you by CreditSecretsBible.com. Have you ever wondered about those ads you see from companies and law firms which offer to fix your credit for a low monthly fee? People with credit problems often ask us when it comes to improving their credit whether they should hire a credit repair company or do it themselves. Unfortunately, there is no simple or universal answer to this question. However, we will shed some light on the subject if you're in need of a little enlightenment. According to the Federal Trade Commission, everything a credit repair clinic can do for you legally, you can do for yourself at little or no cost. While we agree with the FTC, we also understand some consumers do not have the time, patience, or knowledge to do the work themselves, and the thought of drive-through we-do-it-all-for-you credit repair becomes very appealing. After all, everything a mobile oil change service can do for us, we can also do ourselves at little or no cost, but you won't find us changing our own oil this weekend. Although some things are better done yourself, only you can determine if doing your own credit restoration work will be one of them. This is why understanding both the advantages and limitations of a credit repair company and the structure from which it operates are very important. References. Any legitimate company or individual doing credit restoration work for consumers will be able to provide you with at least half a dozen references. If the company or person is local, you should be able to call these references. This is without question the most important point of consideration when hiring a professional to do the work for you. If possible, we suggest you ask friends, family, relatives, and professional contacts if they know of someone who does credit restoration work as a business. By far the highest percentage of successful stories we hear from consumers are those which come from those who found a credit consultant via a personal referral. We cannot stress this enough. It's the difference between going on a vacation with a close friend versus picking up a hitchhiker on the way out of town. Contract. Unlike painting a house or putting in a driveway, credit restoration work and the results from it are extremely broad and subjective at best. Therefore, the use of a contract is imperative. Most likely, your credit challenges didn't occur overnight, and they won't be improved overnight either. A good contract protects you as well as the service provider. The contract should be easy to understand without an attorney and spell out the actual services which will be rendered as well as the service provider's limitations. An example, they cannot guarantee the removal of any one particular item, but can guarantee an overall improvement in your credit over time. Monthly fee. One of the most critical elements which affects how a credit restoration company operates is determined by its payment structure. One of the most common payment structures of large companies or law firms doing credit restoration is that of the monthly auto debit fee. In this structure, the consumer usually pays $49 to $99 up front and then a monthly fee of $39 to $49 per month. While there's an affordability advantage to this method, with it comes many disadvantages. The first disadvantage this structure creates is that it gives the company absolutely no incentive to work quickly or aggressively on behalf of the consumer. In fact, the opposite is true. The longer they take, the longer they will continue to collect their monthly fees. In most cases, this structure leads to slow results over a very long period of time. Looking at it logically, this shouldn't come as a surprise. The other challenge within this structure is the actual amount of time, effort, and resources which a company or law firm can reasonably allocate on the consumer's behalf. Remember, any large business has a tremendous amount of overhead, which quickly chews up most of that monthly fee. A much simpler way to think of this is by imagining if you had a client paying you $39 a month, how much work would you be willing to do? One of the biggest challenges credit repair companies charging low monthly fees run into is being forced to rely on the use of automated boilerplate dispute letters. Boilerplate dispute letters are simple form letters which are used for all consumers. One format fits all. Once set up in a computer program with the consumer's information, they are shot out automatically on behalf of the consumer's needs. An example, disputing a late pay, charge-off, or judgment, etc. The problem here is that when a credit repair company has thousands of clients, they are shooting these form letters out for the creditors. Collection agencies and credit bureaus can take notice of these letters being used over and over and discover your correspondence is coming from a third party. An example, credit repair company or law firm. And in some cases, ignore it, or, worse yet, flag your credit report. We spoke with one man who was on the inside of a large credit repair company who informed us they had an archive of over 10,000 boilerplate letters on file to avoid this problem. Of course, they charged clients by the month. More points to consider. Non-disclosure of methods. One of the most troubling issues with 95% of large credit repair firms, especially law firms, is their non-disclosure of dispute tactics and methods. As a consumer, it is vital that you are made aware of the methods they are using in dealing with your creditors, collection agencies, and the credit bureaus. If the organization or law firm violates laws or makes errors, as we have witnessed both, you could be held liable for their negligence. In addition, this can actually make your credit worse and create problems which are very difficult to clean up later. Anyone doing credit restoration for you should disclose what they are doing since you are paying for the service. If they won't, you better run the other way, as they could be pouring gas on a blazing campfire. Located in home state. This is one of the most overlooked keys to successful third-party credit restoration which consumers miss. It is absolutely vital when having someone else do your credit restoration work for you that they operate within your home state. If a credit repair company or law firm mails dispute letters or correspondence on your behalf from another state, that mail will be postmarked from that state. If the credit bureau catches this, they can, and in many cases will, mark the dispute as coming from a credit repair company and flag your credit file. It is known that many credit repair companies and law firms will resort to or create some kind of method to get around this in order to get disputes postmarked from the consumer's home state. For example, if they are in New York and you are in California, they will first have to mail your dispute letters inside an envelope from New York to California. Once in California, someone opens the envelope and then mails your dispute letters from California, so they are postmarked from your home state. We are not experts on postal regulations, but had a postal employee report to us the concept sounded questionable at best. Customization. It's for this reason that some of the most advanced forms of credit restoration are done completely customized for the client and even, in many cases, by hand. The best credit restoration companies we've seen are usually run by one person or a small number of people and are extremely customized for each client. This is the most effective but also the most expensive method. Every one of these services we have seen charges a very large upfront fee and works entirely off of referrals in most cases. This type of service is simply impossible to perform for $39 to $49 per month. Unfortunately, if you are unable to find a company in your area, preferably an individual, by way of referral through a friend, relative, or professional contact, then we recommend you take matters into your own hands and do it yourself. We realize most consumers don't want to hear this, but the good news is that it will almost always turn out to be the highest paid work you will ever do. How high? How does $500 to $2,500 an hour sound? We understand it's a bold claim, but not one we are unable to back up. If you're ever going to finance a first or second home, the difference between good credit and poor credit will affect your interest rate. If you secure a $200,000 mortgage on a 30-year term and your interest rate is only 2% lower because of a better credit score, that 2% will save you $96,934 over the course of your loan, just because you had better credit. Take that $96,934 and divide it by the 30 to 50 hours you may spend working on your credit situation, and you'll quickly realize credit restoration, when done properly, does not cost, but pays. The score-based model. If you simply can't find the time or motivation to take matters into your own hands, make sure the company or individual who is working on your credit is doing so in a score-based manner. That means every time a change is made to your credit report, you get to see how all three of your scores have changed. In most cases, they should increase each time something happens. But if they decrease, it might be an indication that the company or individual doing the work is not skilled. The fact is, removing some derogatory items from your report can actually lower your credit score, which is why you need this type of report card to determine the skill level of who is doing the work on your behalf. A perfect credit report is not always the highest scoring, and we would imagine you want the highest scoring credit report you can possibly get as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, most credit repair companies and firms could care less about your score. They just want to show stuff is getting deleted so they can keep billing you month after month. Whichever route you choose, usually doing something is almost always better than doing nothing. This video has been brought to you by Consumer Publishing Group, publishers of the Credit Secrets Bible. For more information, please visit creditsecretsbible.com.